Hello student, myself Professor Dr. S.B. Yadav from Siketakur College, New Panvel, Autonomous. Today I am going to solve first basic problem on underwriting of shares. After complete, you will understand how to prepare net liability table and how to write a journal entries in underwriting of commission in the books of company, not individual or firm. We are writing the books of company. So I'll read that question for you first. Try to understand that question. That is problem number 1. XYZ Limited offer 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 10 each at rupees 50. So XYZ Limited offer shares. How many shares offer? 1 lakh. For how much? What is the issue price? Issue price is rupees 50. 10 rupees is the face value. 40 rupees is security premium. So issue price is 50. Now what happened? Total 80,000. Only 80,000 share application were received. Not full. This is a case of undersubscribe. This problem is of what? Under subscription. So full subscription was not there. 20,000 shortage is there. So what to do for the 20,000? All the shares were taken up by underwriters in following way. So underwriting firm is there. So they are ready to take the risk 100%, and that risk they have divided among Mr. A 50%, Mr. B 30%, and Mr. C 20%. So ABC firm is there, and that ABC firm, they are ready to take a risk. Among them, Mr. A said, I am going to take 50% risk. Mr. B said, I am going to take 30% risk. And Mr. C said, I am going to take 20% risk. So that 100% risk is divided between A, B, C in the ratio of 5 to 3 to 2. So remember, this ratio is called as a gross liability ratio. Whatever the liability will be there, whatever the shortage will be there, that shortage they are going to take in the ratio of 3 is to 2 is to 5 to 3 is to 2. In total application, mark application were as under. Total application 80,000. Under that 80,000, mark application, that Mr. A's mark is 10,000, Mr. B's mark is 25,000, and Mr. C's mark is 5,000. So 10,000, 25,000 and 5,000, the total 40,000. It comes to how much? 40,000. Total application received 80,000. So if you deduct that the mark shares, balance is called as a unmarked shares. So 40,000 balance is unmarked shares. Now what to do with that unmarked shares? Unmarked shares is also divided, that benefit of the unmarked share is given to the partners only. That 40,000 also we are going to divide in the ratio of 5 to 3 to 2. And then we have to find out what? Net liability. Firm underwriting. There was a firm underwriting. What is the meaning of the firm underwriting? That the firm has applied and they will going to take this Mr. A 5,000 shares, Mr. B 8,000 shares, and Mr. C 6,000 shares. So firm underwriting, that is also there by this firm. Now company paid 5% commission. You are required to calculate net liability of each underwriters and pass journal entry. So here you have to calculate that net liability and you have to pass a journal entries in the books of XYZ Limited. Now here that the question arises that total application whatever we have received, okay, total application that we have received, is that application include firm underwriting application or that exclude firm underwriting application. So if it is exclude firm underwriting application, then 5 plus 8 plus 6, 5,000 plus 8,000 plus 6,000. How much it comes to? 19,000. So out of 40,000, again 19,000, that is what confirm, and remaining 21,000. Balance left out is how much? 21,000. So 21,000 they have to divide. How it is going to be divided among A, B, C, that we have to calculate. So let us see that what is the procedure to calculate or how to prepare that table. Preparation of the table of net liability is very important because in the examination also you have to prepare a table of net liability. So let us start by preparing that net liability table. So here you have to prepare one table. In that table, last column is total, first column is particular, and three partners, Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C. You have to write their ratio also. The ratio is 5 is to 3 is to 2. So remember that you have to go step by step. Okay? You have to go step by step. The first step you have to write whatever the total IPO, and that total IPO you have to divide between that three partners in the GLR ratio, that is gross liability ratio. This ratio is called as a GLR ratio. So let us start first gross liability. What is the gross liability? 1 lakh. Total shares in IPO 1 lakh. So 1 lakh you have to divide in the ratio of 5 is to 3 is to 2. So how much it comes to? It's very simple, 50,000, 30,000 and 20,000. So write down here 50,000, 30,000 and 20,000. Okay. Now from this, first of all, you have to deduct mark application. Whatever the mark application actual that you have to deduct. So here less mark application, that you have to deduct actual, whatever the actual mark application is there is no ratio, mark application. So what are the mark application? Mark application is given 10,000, 25,000 and 5,000. So here deduct 10,000, 25,000 and 5,000. Negative figure you have to write in bracket. So total 40,000. total 40,000. You have to take a balance. $50,000 minus 10,000, 40, 5,000 and 15,000. Total 60. Next, you have to deduct unmarked application. So unmarked application we have calculated, that is 40,000. So unmarked application, benefit of the unmarked application company is going to give to whom? To the partners, to the underwriters. So we have to divide that 40,000. So here less unmarked. Total unmarked 40,000. Total unmarked 40,000. Now please pay attention here. Unmarked application you have to divide in which ratio? Again, gross liability ratio, GLR ratio. What is that GLR ratio? 5 is to 3 is to 2. 20,000, 12,000 and here 8,000. Like that you have to divide. Again we have to calculate balance. Here 20,000, here 7,000, but that 7,000 is what? Negative. And here 7,000, now whenever you will get that the negative balance, that you have to divide among the positive partners in GL ratio. So here less, this is very important step that you have to remember, less excess of B given to A and B, A and C in which ratio? 5 is to 2. 5 is to 2. So 5 is to 2 means 7,000 divided by 7, 3,000. Here A will get benefit of 3,500 shares. Here positive 7,000 will become nil, and here 1,400. No, well, not 1,400. How much? 7,000 divided by 7, 3,500. Total should be 7,000. Here not 3,500, here 5,000. Divided by 7. 7,000 divided by 7 is 1,000. 1,000 multiplied by 5, 5,000. And here 1,000 multiplied by 2, 2,000. So if you take the total, it becomes 0. Again we have to take what? Balance. balance 20,000 minus 5,000 becomes 15,000. Here 0 and here 5,000. So 15 plus 5, 20,000. So remember, whenever there is a negative figure, that you have to give it to the positive partner. In which ratio? Gross liability ratio. Okay. Now, balance 20,000 has to be divided between Mr. A will take the liability of 15,000 shares and Mr. C will take the liability of 5,000 shares and Mr. B will not take any liability. Why? Because of benefit of the unmarked as well as marked shares. Now next step. The next step, what you have to do, you have to deduct the benefit of firm underwriting. Firm underwriting means they have to take that. So here, out of this 20,000, the firm underwriting that you have to deduct. How much is the firm underwriting? Firm underwriting 5,000, 8,000 and 6,000. So here we will deduct that firm underwriting also. So less firm underwriting actual, because benefit of the firm underwriting that we are going to give it to them. Now A, how much firm underwriting is there? A 5,000, 8,000 and 6,000. So here 5,000, here 8,000 and here 6,000. So total 19,000. Again, out of that 20,000, 19,000 is sure. 19,000 they are going to take. So actual net liability, it will come. Again, balance we will take. Balance 15,000 minus 5,000, 10,000. 0 minus 8,000 minus 8,000 and 5,000 minus 6,000 minus 1,000, and if you take that the total here you will get 1,000. So left out is 1,000 and that 1,000 who has to take? Again negative balance we have to give it to the positive holder. So only one positive, Mr. A is positive but B and C is what? Negative. So B and C ka negative that we have to give it to the Mr. A benefit. So here less excess of B and C to A. Now here A only. So 8 plus 1, 9. So here 9,000, here 8,000 and here 1,000. It becomes 0. So all that 1,000 shares, who has to take? Mr. A has to take that 1,000 share, because 10,000 minus 9,000 it becomes 1,000. Still it is not a net liability. So out of remaining 1,000 balance, that balance 1,000 shares, who has to take? Mr. A has to take that 1,000 ka balance. But what is the net liability? Net liability, I will calculate the new page. This is Mr. A, B, C and total and particular. I will continue this balance 1000, 0, 0 and 1000. Here also 1000. So 1000, 0, 0 and total 1000. Now you should know that the calculation of this 1000. Orally, if you calculate, see total application received how much? 80,000, right? 80,000 calculation. So 20,000 balance. But in that 20,000 also, 19,000 shares who's going to take? Firm. So actually there is a balance remaining is what? 1,000 only. So who's going to take that 1,000 ka shares? So firm. In firm also we have calculated by adding, subtracting, and we got 1,000 share. That 1,000 shares who has to take? Mr. A has to take that balance 1,000 shares. Now we have to calculate net liability. Now net liability means the total liability. Mr. A, how many shares he has to take? Mr. B, how much shares he has to take? Mr. C, how much shares he has to take? That we have, for that we have to add firm underwriting, because actual. How many shares Mr. A is going to take? A 5,000, 8,000 and 6,000. So here Mr. A 5,000, 8,000 and 6,000. So total 19,000. So now net liability, final answer that Mr. A has to take 6,000 shares, Mr. B has to take 8,000 shares and Mr. C has to take 6,000 shares out of the remaining 20,000 balance shares. This is nothing but the net liability. I hope all of you have followed this calculation. Steps are there. Follow that steps. Step number 1, mark application you have to deduct. Step number 2, unmark application you have to deduct. Step number 3, if any excess, sometimes there is no excess, so don't do that. But if the excess is there of any partner, that you have to pay or you have to give to the other partner, in which ratio? GL ratio. Remember, that is gross liability ratio, GLR. Again, step number 3, if the firm underwriting is there and benefit you are going to give, there are two types of the problem: is given and benefit is not given. Not given we will see later on, but benefit is given, then we have to follow this. 25,000, here 4 lakh minus 75,000, 3 lakh 25,000, and here 2 lakh 50,000. So this much bank we have to receive finally for the settlement of Mr. A's account, B's account and C's account. Now dear student, how to record these transactions in the form of journal entry, that we have to see. Journal entry will remain same for every problem. Only thing is that sometimes instead of receiving money from the partner, sometimes company has to pay to the partner. Okay, in that case journal entry will be reverse. So let us start journal entry. I will write journal entry. This is the calculation you have to keep ready for all the journal entry. For journal entry you have to write for application money received. What you have to write? Application money received. What is the journal entry for application money received? Bank account debit to, actually here two journal entries are there. First journal entry is share application account debit to equity share capital to security premium. Okay, and then actual money received for share application. Okay, so we will write that way, that will be the better. So first journal entry, not this, first journal entry write down full, that is that amount, that is share application account debit, how many, 1 lakh shares multiply by 50, that is 50 lakh. This 1 lakh is what? Total issue, and 50 is nothing but the issue price. 2, equity share capital account. How many equity shares? 1 lakh, and capital is 10 rupees, not 50 rupees, but capital is what? 10 rupees. So 10 lakh. 2, security premium, 1 lakh multiply by 40. In this 50 rupees is divided into two parts. 10 is a capital and 40 rupees is security premium. Remember. So this is a journal entry. Every time that you have to write same journal entry. Application money, whatever the application money due. At the time of the beginning, we don't know how much application that we are going to receive. So company assume that 1 lakh application money, that is what due on 1 lakh shares. So 1 lakh multiplied by 50, that is 50 lakh. Second journal entry, here you can write being application money due. This is application money due. Now second journal entry, now we are going to receive actual application money. So actual application money means bank account debit. Bank account debit. How many applications we received? 80,000. Right? 80,000 that application money received. 80,000 multiplied by 50. 40 lakh. In this application money, we have not included firm underwriting. Otherwise, it becomes how many shares money we have to receive? 80 plus 19, 99, 99,000 shares. Only 1,000 shares left out, no? After underwriting, 1,000. So 99. So that amount we are going to adjust later on. 2, bank account debit 40 lakh. 2, now we are going to close that share application, right? Now some amount is due from Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C also. Okay, so what we will do, that we will debit their account. Your bank account, actual money received 40 lakh. From Mr. A, from Mr. B and from Mr. C. On application, we have to receive that the firm underwriting amount, right? So that firm underwriting amount or their amount, we are going to not only firm underwriting but total firm underwriting plus net liability. Whatever the net liability. What is that net liability? 6,000, 8,000 and 6,000. This 20,000 share application money will due from whom? From the partners. That is underwriters, not partner, underwriters. So here total 30, 40, 3 lakh, 4 lakh and 3 lakh. That is going to be receivable. How much is going to be receivable? 3 lakh 43, 343. So 3 lakh, 4 lakh and 3 lakh. Total amount 10 lakh plus this 40. So total 50 lakhs. So share application account we can close now. So here 2 share application account. How much share application account? 50 lakh. Ultimately that we are going to close this share application. See here debit and here share application credit. Get close. So second journal entry all of you followed. This bank money we have to receive from outsider 80,000. Outsider. Outsider means general public. And this 10 lakh we have to receive from underwriters because they have to take liability. They have to take that balance shares. Okay. This is about share application. Okay, and allotment. Now, next thing that we have to record journal entry for underwriting commission. Okay, so let us start underwriting commission. Journal entry for underwriting commission. For company, underwriting commission is a income or expenses. For company, underwriting commission is a income or expenses. Expenses. So should be debited or credited? Debited. Right? All expenses should be debited. So journal entry is underwriter's commission account debit to payable to whom? Payable to Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C. So payable to Mr. A, to Mr. B and to Mr. C. How much? Underwriter's commission that we have already calculated. How much? 1 lakh 25, 75 and 50. So 125, 75,000 and 50,000. So total 2 lakh 50,000. Huh? Okay, third entry. Third entry. The third. Now fourth and final entry for settlement. Settlement means how much we have to receive and how much we have to pay. So we have to receive from Mr. A 1 lakh 75, from Mr. B 3 lakh 25 and from Mr. C 2 lakh 50,000. So here we will write we have to receive or received. So received means fourth entry, bank account debit. This is settlement entry. Bank account debit to Mr. A, to Mr. B and to Mr. C. How much? 175, 1 lakh 75, 325 and 250. 1 lakh 75,000. Next is 3 lakh 25,000 and third is 2 lakh 50,000. So total 7 lakh 50,000. Finish. one partner and two other partners payable. So journal entry, if it is payable, the journal entry, suppose Mr. A and B, company has to pay to Mr. A and B. So what will be the journal entry? Mr. A account debit, Mr. B account debit to bank. Here what happened? All three underwriters, we have to receive money. So only one journal entry required, that is bank account debit to underwriters. Now if you just see that underwriter's account, is it that underwriter account tally or nil balance? Take out your calculator and do some calculation. Here Mr. A is debited with the 3 lakh. 3 lakh debit minus 1 lakh 25,000 and minus 1 lakh 75,000 is equal to 0. So remember all the partner, how you have to see whether my solution is right or wrong. See that all the partners balance should be 0. So that is the end of this solution. I hope all of you have followed this solution. Thank you.